Moscow Red Legion as Marcelo Margot and Axel Godin. The problem now is that, Lukashek he did pretty well in there, Todd, I thought. But there's still, it seems like they're, and I heard from Wheeler that Jason Wheeler, our Rookie of the Year last year, for playing for Moscow, he was going to be playing the one on the Dorito side. Wasn't calling his name a lot during that game. So we'll see. It definitely hurt him, but Moscow's really good at absorbing player losses because they have such a strong system that they need to win this matchup right now. This is a huge game for them.
Absolutely. Now look at the breakout. All the way to Snake in the break. Aftershock known for their aggressive breakouts, Matty.
Yeah, and Aftershock, that's why I liked watching Aftershock play last year, even though they didn't win a lot of games, because they were so aggressive just all over the place, and now they take Snake off the break and run up to that center 50A.
Right now, losing one player in the break in the center there, right, Matty? That was number 7 on Aftershock. That is Caleb Albil.
Yeah, and Yanuszewski getting shot as well. So it's 4-on-4. Davey Simmons in the Snake for Chicago Aftershock, and Michael Kovar, who had a couple good points for Moscow, and he replaces Axel, who goes to the Tauntaun, so we're going to watch perform tomorrow.
And Miko Kovar, actually from X Factor, a great player. He was one of their premier players in the Snake last year.
He was one of those guys. He was a little hot and cold. I like to be a little more consistent, but I think that he's really going to excel in this system. He lives in Europe now, so he's going to be able to get a lot of training time in with them. But Moscow getting chewed up over there on that Dorito side. Oh, another body comes off, so just 2 players left alive for Moscow Red Legion. Here comes Chicago Aftershock. Be real big boost to their confidence to go up 1 point here on Moscow Red Legion.
3-on-2, they're in the 50 Dorito. You can see in the far side, Davey Simmons on your screener, they're looking at his coach. He just needs to make a little move, stay tight, be calm. But now Aftershock in the far side of 50, you can see him wrapping around there on the Dorito side, Matty.
Yeah, and now Aftershock, they've been in this position many times and thrown points away. They seem to not know what to do when they're in this situation. They're in good positions, they're up bodies, and that's just when they sometimes start dying out of their bunkers by playing too aggressively. So that's when they got to slow it down a little bit and make sure, no matter what, that the 4 guys they have do not get beat by the 2 of the Russians.
And I've seen it happen many times also, Todd.
Well, they also got Alexander Bernikov left on the field for Moscow, and that always throws a monkey wrench in anyone's plan. So he's got a ridiculous innate ability to fight from behind. He's in a really bad spot right now, though.
Innate ability. I got to write that one down, too. There goes Mikhail Kovar taking a walk. 1 player left on Russian Legion right there.
Yeah, it's just the Top Gun Award winner, and that is going to do it. So just Aftershock finally stepping up. They made really aggressive moves off the break, solidified their advantage, got a couple good kills, won some gunfights, and then able to play smart and take out Kovar, and then there was just nothing that Alexander Bernikov could do in that bunker. So the first point is going to go to Chicago Aftershock.
Yeah, but in his defense, he was living in the middle of nowhere there for a second, though, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, he had to because, with that player pushing all the way down the Dorito sides, we had to do. Let's check out this replay real quick. Here you have Davey Simmons doing the creep, coming out, and he blows Bierdnikov away and closes the game out for Aftershock, puts them up 1.
So we were going to be right back here after these messages. Do not go anywhere.
Masks, loaders, paintballs, tanks, and clothing. With free shipping on all orders over $100. Shop now at ansgear.com.
And we are back here. So Chicago Aftershock looking really good in that first point, and Moscow continuing to struggle. Todd, if you were the coach, because Moscow has a new head coach for this season, based on their loss to Impact earlier on today and not able to get any sort of offense started in that first point, would you change things up? What would you kind of come out with right now? What would you say to them?
I would pick a side and try to attack it. I mean, these guys had Konstantin Fedorov on their team for a really long time. I don't know how they didn't watch that game this morning when he was just coming out to that Dorito side with help and just putting guys in and going. getting up the field, attacking. And then on the snake side of the field, we've seen them over here, and they've been in snake too, but we haven't seen them forcing the issue, trying to push themselves down the field with support, get guys behind them. Half of that reason was because they lost guys on the breaks so many times the first point, but here it is. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You got 3 guns on the Russian Legion towards the Dorito side. They're all working together, and they're pushing hard.
And just destroying Aftershock off the break. Already 4 bodies dead for Chicago Aftershock. And here comes Panilev down the snake side. And losing 1 body, but that is going to do it. So Moscow Red Legion getting right back on the board to tie it up 1-1.
That was good. Great shooting lanes. That reminded me of Impact right there. Getting a couple good shots in the break, getting up the field, doing damage, and it's slowly, methodically coming out and take out the rest of the players.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. AJ Lawhead for Chicago Aftershock in 2 points has 3 confirmed kills. He also was feasting in their game earlier, even though they got beat up real bad by damage, but he was the only one really killing anybody. And I think he's going to be, when we finally get the tallies for the day on who our top players are, I think AJ Lawhead, his survivability is going to be terrible, but he's getting up there in the G count.
Actually, I had the luxury of playing with AJ, actually, and I know him personally. He's a great guy. Look at this, though, right here, Matty.
Well, this is one of the role players, Evgeny Zakharov for Moscow Red Legion, and he's doing a really good job of staying alive, not getting any kills, but, you kind of need that out of Moscow's support guys. Get out there, do your job, stay alive, and that's what they need out of guys like Zakharov. And we're going to be right back after this.
It's the best paintball videos on the web, then tune into paintballaccess.com. Fill your mind with compelling articles, player stats, and the best interviews in the business. And this season, paintballaccess.com has become even hotter with exclusive videos from the CXPL. The CXPL is easily Canada's largest tournament, featuring real X-ball with 15 balls per second and 25-minute halves. Drop by paintballaccess.com for exclusive footage from Canada's hottest tournament.
All right, we are back here, and the score is all tied up at 1 apiece. I do like what I've seen, at least from that first point for Chicago, but they got to keep it up. That's the problem with Chicago. This game, paintball in general, you can't just go out, have a good point. I mean, they've got to consistently keep up the pressure, and we haven't seen that out of them yet. They'll have those good points, or they'll get in those good spots and drop the ball. Consistency is key. They need to get more consistent.
Yeah, well, let's not read too much into that. It's the first time that Moscow shot anybody on the break today, I think. So finally, helping that get going. And, I mean, what started that off was them doubling up, tripling up guns on that Dorito side and attacking it aggressively early.
And they have always been good at that. I mean, when they do that, and their secondary moves are crisp.
So here we go on the breakout. You are looking. Chicago Aftershock getting in. Oh, I thought I was going to get in there, but no, Davey Simmons takes one. And they are just running Simmons hard over here on the snake side, but he finally catches one. And now here comes Moscow quickly, seizing the advantage on the snake side. Get Kovar into snake 2. And he has 2 players behind him here. So good field position for Moscow Red Legion at the 40-yard lines on both sides of the field.
And also now Trevor Regan right there on Aftershock, getting in the mirroring up right there, Mikhail Kovar. And look, mirrored up in the snake side here, Matty. How does this average out? Oh, and Aftershock losing another player on the Dorito side, which means here comes the pain on the far side of the field.
Well, what happens is...
sorry.
is now that Aftershock is losing all these bodies over there on the Dorito side, it's about time that Kovar gets going down here down the snake.
They still have one guy on the far Dorito side you see on the right-hand side of your screen, Matty. He's kind of holding things down over there for him a little bit.
Yeah, and
not anymore.
I was going to say way better field position for Moscow. See if they can do something to it, and immediately just rolls around and owns AJ Lawhead, and that was the new pickup, Kevin Klum for Moscow Red Legion, coming out of Icon from France.
And you see right there Trevor Reagan saying, my hit, kind of questioning the call. I don't know if you can really see out of his goggles.
Yeah, he took about, I would say, no exaggeration, that was a good maybe 4, 5, 6 shots directly to his face.
And that's one thing that Moscow Red Legion has always been good at, running and gunning. Fedorov is phenomenal at that, running down the field, and all his balls are on the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, ball-on-ball accuracy is definitely huge.
Well, the running, and this particular field layout, and we've seen this, let's get to that. Let's check out this replay real quick, Todd.
All right, here we have Kovar, stands up, gun up, comes down, and just blasts. Ba-boom, got to go. Stops, turns around, and on his way back as he slips and falls and gets up and makes the low light reel. Here he comes. You see Regan right there just getting stuffed. And then Kovar tries to hit the brakes, turns around. And Kovar stat stuffing.
And we're going to be back right after this.
Catch the best paintball videos on the web, then tune in to paintballaccess.com. Fill your mind with compelling articles, player stats, and the best interviews in the business. And this season, paintballaccess.com has become even hotter with exclusive videos from the CXPL. The CXPL is easily Canada's largest tournament, featuring real X-ball with 15 balls per second and 25-minute halves. Drop by paintballaccess.com for exclusive footage from Canada's hottest tournament.
And we are back here. So before the commercial break, Todd and Chris, we were talking about how on this particular field layout with no back center, a lot of that running and gunning skill is going to come into play, and we're seeing top teams like Impact be real effective at being able to shoot guys on the run out. So it's a little bit more challenging in that with that aspect there. But that's, hey, we're not trying to make it easy out here. These are the best teams in the world. We want those elements of the game to be in play, and it's absolutely in play here. So the guys that are like Konstantin Fedorov, who is demolishing people out there today, those guys that are good at running and shooting are really going to be able to stay on top of getting those quick kills off the break.
And as you said, he is phenomenal. Right there, Moscow Red Legion taking the snake in the break. It is 4-on-5 right now. Right there, Aftershock losing a player on the snake side of the field. Making a big move, though, and also losing him right there, Matty. That's two, so now the snake side's totally open right here for the Russians. That's Barishnikov, as we talked about earlier, going to work. Just a machine,
well,
Matty.
The Russians seem to starting to get their legs underneath them. Took a little bit of time, and maybe it's good for the Russians, if you're a Moscow fan, that they're playing Shock right now, because Shock is not bringing their A game to the table right now. They did have one really good point that they looked solid, but finally Moscow is really grabbing that momentum, taking hold of it, and doing what they need to do. They're making moves on the snake side. They're shooting players out of their bunkers, and they're starting to find that Moscow Red Legion game that they were lacking here so far today.
And one thing that Moscow Red Legion is really good at, Matty and Todd, is we always talked about this, their coaching staff. Look at Barishnikov right here, Matty. Number 17th ranked player in the league for this tournament.
Yeah, this is so far, but this is our Top Gun Award winner from 2012, man. He was the best player on planet Earth last year, and for a good reason. He's tiny, he's aggressive, he's an amazing gunfighter, great field presence.
Versatile.
You talk about high paintball IQ. I've heard from a lot of guys that play with him before that they say they'll bring him up as far as best players they've ever played with, and so he's really going to have to step up this year because again they took hits on the roster, but they picked some guys up. They're working on it, and we're going to be right back after this. Here we go. The score is 3-1 in favor of Moscow Red Legion. 15 minutes and 1 second remain here in regulation. We've seen a lot of quick points today because this field layout plays so aggressive. And as these teams start to master these moves out there and figure out those lanes and get their off the break shots down, we're going to see more and more carnage as the tournament progresses. Now Shock, they need to get something going here. They're getting beat to the punch these past few points by Moscow Red Legion, and if you are a Moscow fan, that's good news for them because they have a new roster this year.
Absolutely, and look at up the middle. See, I was going to ask you guys about how the middle plays in this field because that's what I like to do. How does this middle play in this field?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're learning right now from Aftershock how the middle plays because Shock's the only team that's been going up there, but they keep consistently getting a guy up there. The problem is you can't keep a guy up there forever. You need to use that and then get around, and he's going to go right underneath.
Oh.
Carnage stays alive. Was he able to make it? Oh my God, he stayed alive in there. No, and the round was going to say the referees are pulling a major penalty as the crowd erupts in frustration. And it looks like that was Caleb Abel. And, Caleb Abel, I talked to Mikey Bruno about Caleb. He says he's really counting on him to be a big player for them this year because he's so versatile.
I'll be honest with you, Matty. I watched that play right there. And obviously we're not in the field. We can't make this call. The refs are down there. They do a great job. I saw him go in. They probably bunkered each other. He came back, got shot in the back. I'm not sure exactly if that was a major, but then again, like I said, we're not in the field, and these guys are professionals down there, so we really can't make the call from here.
I can't make the call from 85 feet away, but yeah.
You could. You're good at that.
I just like to thank my dad for my
Your great
eyesight genes.
Caca.
But The thing is, right now, look at this. And a lot of chaos out there. It looks like I see a red flag on. I thought I saw a red flag on the. No, it's a red pod. Thought for a second that Moscow got a penalty too, but no, they just had a bunch of guys die in that chaos that Caleb Abel caused, trying to go underneath that center 50 structure and take out Moscow. And now Moscow's got 2 bodies left alive, and looks like Chicago Aftershock's also got 2 bodies left alive. Lucky for them, one of them's AJ Lawhead.
Word, yeah, AJ Lawhead, like I was going to talk about, I had the pleasure of playing with him. The guy's a great guy, man. Great guy, great paintball player at the same time.
And talk about, we always talk about how guys need to personally take it upon themselves to go out there and play their best game. And Lawhead needs to become a leader. He needs to lead on the field and off the field. He's the most seasoned guy on that team and one of their best players. He's their best player right now, as he's got 3 confirmed kills. Caleb Abel's, he's got a confirmed kill as well too. But Lawhead has to play. If Shock wants to do well this year and win games, they need Lawhead to step up. They need Davey Simmons to step up. They need Caleb Abel to step up. They need to have guys take personal responsibility for their on-field actions.
Yeah, whoever that was right there that just ran up the middle. Is that number 10? Brian McKenna.
He's struggling. He had a major penalty earlier.
Yeah, Brian McKenna should have taken another. They already burned off a minute and a half off the penalty. They could have waited the extra 15 seconds and got a 3-on-2 and let their player come out of the box. Instead, both Aftershock guys sat there, both tried to attack, both got shot silly, and they could have just let their guy come out of the box, swing all the way around to the snake side, but there's just like the small mental mistakes that guys make. And now that as well is that there's still 8 seconds on the penalty.
Yeah,
that was a major, so he's going to stay on.
And now the score is 4-1, and now we have that dreaded 3-point spread, and then it's just so frustrating. This could have been a 2-point game if Aftershock just capitalized on the advantage, get the guy out of the box, you get a whole other guy. Let's check out this replay. It's a breakout replay here, and you see Caleb Abel here. Check it out. He's going to run around. That's the correct lane, and runs around, and it goes right to that center 50 structure. And now when you get up there, you got to pick a side. So that's what he does. He commits right, and he is going to basically hone in right there.
And with that said, Matty, I used to do this for a living. And getting up there, you're right. You got to commit a side.
You did. You were the best at that.
And the thing is, if they get up on your right-hand side there, just go. Because if you're going to get shot, you're going to get shot. Because if they get that far on you, you got to go down the field. Run down the field, shoot the other guys as many as you can.
And we're going to be right back after this. Do not go anywhere. Got ourselves a 3-point game, score 4-1 in favor of Moscow Red Legion, who are finally getting it together here in their second game of this season. Let's see if Aftershock can start capitalizing on some of the advantages. Well, let's see if they can get an advantage again. They're pretty good at that. They're good at getting into spots. They probably have some of the, I would say, the best off-the-break runners in the sport right now. They just don't really necessarily capitalize on their advantages when they get there.
Yeah, and they got 2 bodies running off the field right now, and just actually make that 3 bodies. 4-on-2 right now in favor of Moscow Red Legion. And there's Lukashuk bolting from that corner all the way up to Snake 2, gets shot. Probably could have been a little bit cleaner on that move.
And that's a characteristic. They usually get in there, dive into Snake, and I've seen that a couple times out of him this weekend, with this game anyway.
Well, the big thing with Russian Legion has always been discipline. Discipline. And we figured we'd see, an even stronger discipline this year because of, having an all hometown team and, not having a lot of, outside players and being able to practice a lot more together and, not having that star power anymore, really with, 4 or 5 purchased players from, around the world. Yeah, but, we'll see. 5-1 Aftershock. We'll be right back after these messages.
Big shout out to our statistical team over there, watching, staring, judging, categorizing, and counting.
You know what's funny is, Matt, is you can't see the guys on the sides that sit in like a duck tower, like Duck Dynasty. They literally sit in a tower for 8 hours a day, man. I don't know how we have the best staff here ever, I gotta say.
Well, yeah, there it is right there. The stat crew surrounding the field and just out there to categorize. Go to Paintball Access and check out the stats from last year. We'll have all the stats up for this year at the conclusion of this event. We'll be bringing you the info from those stats and who are our leaders in every category as things progress. And right now, just as a ballpark, I'd have to say Konstantin Fedorov's probably the kill count leader for the year. His dominant performance today.
It's a pretty good guess.
Going out on a limb on that one.
Aftershock losing a player right there. I mean, and honestly, they're down 5-1. I'm surprised Mikey Bruno didn't come up with some crazy game plan to take all the 50s in the break right there, Todd.
Red Legion has found their aggressiveness somewhere, and they're just taking it to Aftershock right now. They're shooting guys on the break.
And I think they needed this, actually. I mean, from what I came in and saw by the score-wise, I think they needed something like this to get their confidence back, Maddie, and kind of get their groove in.
Yeah, they really did. And they're starting to find it. You can always tell. If you want to know how a team's playing, just look across the field at the body language. If they're tentative, hesitating on their head checks, not sure which lane to shoot, as more bodies fall for shock, but if they're looking like that, then it's going to be a bad day. But if they're in there, they're confident, they know exactly what they need to do, they're making crisp, fast moves, listening, talking it up, that's good paintball, and that's what we're seeing out of Moscow right now.
Yeah, it's 3-on-3 right now. I mean, I kind of like to see Aftershock get a point in the board right here. I mean, I know it's kind of 5-1 against Moscow Red Legion, which is kind of too little too late, Todd, but I'd like to see something happen a little bit here.
Yeah, you got AJ Lawhead and Snake too. He's got Davey Simmons helping him behind him as number 19, Yanishevsky, backs up to Snake 1, back into Snake 2 again, and trying to get something going here for Aftershock. AJ Lawhead looking, maybe trying to make a move, and does get a shot in on Yanishevsky. Nice shot.
Yanishevsky just wore it hard in there.
Oh, and AJ Lawhead gets another one across the field right there, Matty. You see him walking, taking the walk.
And Brian McKenna stepping it up. Brian McKenna getting some kills here.
AJ 3-pack. That's hat trick for AJ Lawhead. And Matty, you talked about AJ Lawhead earlier.
Yeah.
Well, again, if AJ, this is what Shock needs. This is exactly what we were just talking about. If I'm playing on Shock and I'm not AJ Lawhead and I see him go out there and just smash a bunch of guys, just roping dudes in the face, running down the field, shooting guys cross field, well, what am I going to want to do? I'm going to be like, okay, AJ's handling out there. I need to personally step it up because I just can't let AJ go out there and do all the work by himself. And so AJ's, he's clocking in, man. He's putting in work, and that's what Shock needs. And we're going to be right back after this, see if they can come back.
Hey, what's up? This is Jason Wheeler with Russian Legion. So what makes the Virtue Spy the best loader in paintball? The Spy is tough and reliable. If you've ever run on the field and get shot by a 12-gauge shotgun, you're screwed. But your Spy will keep working. Find out more at virtuespy.com.
How you doing? This is Ryan Moorhead with Impact. What makes the Virtue Spire the best loader in paintball? Well, you can say goodbye to breaking paint in the loader. The paddle on the Spire is flexible, making it possible to feed the most fragile paint on the market. Find out more at virtuespire.com.
If I'm Coach Mikey Bruno for Chicago Aftershock right now, I'm patting AJ Lawhead on the back saying, kid, that's what I need out of you. And please keep giving it to me. And I'd look around at every single guy in Aftershock in that pit, and I'd scream out and be like, hey, are you going to let AJ go out there and do all the work for you guys? Because he's the only one really killing anybody.
And Mikey
Get
Bruno,
it together.
He was one of those crazy guys, too. He's like, you know what? I'm surprised he didn't put a jersey on and go do it himself. Because he's one of those crazy guys.
He says that, actually. I talked to Mikey, and Mikey said, he's like, well, I'll tell you, he's like, Matty, I'll tell you what. We get to practice, somebody tells me something can't be done, I grab a gun, and in my shorts, I run up there, I'll smoke 3 guys, you know, and Mikey's just so intense.
He might swim doing it, but he'll do it.
So here we go. Here we go on the breakout.
And Aftershock, actually right now, I'm sorry to interrupt, Matty, starting with 3 players on the break. So that means they had a major penalty at the last point.
I don't see anybody in the box.
They didn't have a penalty. They just didn't go.
That is another. Oh God! I just want to. This is the story of Chicago Aftershock.
And I bet you Mikey Bruno is going crazy right now.
I mean, that's not a fire over in those trees. That's the steam coming from Mikey Bruno's head.
And that's like we talked about. It comes down to coaching. Mascot Red Legion, great coaching staff. I mean, it comes down to a lot of coaching, Matty.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Who knows what happened in there? Maybe something catastrophic possibly happened, but still, that's why you got, they have, there's no excuse to only field 3 guys when you're now only down by 3 points with 9 minutes left, when tons of time to come back, because now you might as well just spot Moscow another point. So Moscow's now going to go up 6-2 and be 1 point away from winning, which mentally we all know once you see that 6 on the board, it's a kind of a breath of fresh air, and you're like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, you don't play as tense. Sometimes you play better, and it's easy to put that last point on the board.
Well, you guys got to watch right now, because I guarantee you, Todd, that Bruno is going to come up with some crazy game plan. 5 people to the A, diving out to the snake, running around, like shooting, and just massacre. I mean, they're not going to sit back and just take this. I guarantee that right now.
Let's check out this replay here. And this is it, trying to get, what are they doing? They're just gently jogging in. Okay, so no, these are the 3 players, and they just, inexcusable. That can't happen out here, man. Best teams in the world here.
You guys need to look at the positive side of this.
Which is
that they'll be able to learn a lot more in the Challengers Division next event.
Oh, man. Well, if they keep doing this, look at Mikey Bruno's flipping out on the refs right now. I'm not sure exactly why. Look at the veins in his neck right now. He's so scary.
If as much blood went to his forehead to create hair as it did to his neck, I think he is. But he is livid.
Oh, so livid.
And
right now.
Mikey's a very passionate person. He's not mad. He's a very passionate person about paintball.
I mean, I'd love to throw a mic on him, but I don't think we'd have to bleep out every other word.
It'd be a constant bleep. It'd be like an organ.
Yeah.
You know what Aftershock has to look forward to?
What?
Playing Impact on Saturday morning.
Oh, good lord!
Is that what we're working with on Saturday morning?
Listen.
First game Saturday morning.
Aftershock
Impact.
I'm sorry, everybody. I never not put anybody out of this tournament. I don't care. I've been beaten by the worst teams, the best teams, and
a whole bunch
myself.
Of whole bunch of teams in between.
No, but seriously, you can never count anybody out. Aftershock is a premier team. They've won more World Cups than anybody has ever won.
And that's why I get so frustrated when I see them make these mental errors, because you see them play so well some points, and you're like, wow, oh my God, they're Aftershock's in every 50-yard line bunker.
It's their end game that's the problem.
Yeah, which they can get though. So on the positive side, they are timeout been called. So on the positive side, there's a lot of upside to Shock. A, they have great game plans. B, lots of heart on that team, and they have that legacy, that Shock legacy that they are trying to live up to. And the tough thing for them is that there's really no slack ever cut anybody out here. Every single team is out there trying to put it on you at every point in every gunfight, and that's the ground. But honestly, that's why we have the champion in the Challengers Division, because we want to see the best matchups out here that we possibly can see at all times. So starting at the next event, the top 10 teams are going to be in the Champions Division, and the other 10 teams are going to be in the Challengers Division, and that's still professional divisions. Everyone's a pro, but I think it's going to lend to more exciting matches, more exciting tournaments. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. So here we go, and the story of this game has been Moscow finding their form and Chicago Aftershock actually getting some good points in, but just not doing enough. And it looks like we have an update from Lauren Carey. Let's listen in.
Hey guys, as you can see, we're down here at the Aftershock pit. Mikey Bruno is extremely upset. He says he called a timeout with 12 seconds on the clock, and they completely ignored him. The refs aren't going to let them replay the point. It doesn't seem like they're going to let him replay the point, but Mikey Bruno says he is not surrendering this argument. So I don't know what the resolution is, but that's what's going on right now, Maddie.
Thanks, Lauren. Lots of drama down there, as to be expected when these tournaments go down. And on the field, it's not looking good for Aftershock, as they only have one player left alive. And here comes the Top Gun Award winner, Alexander Burnikoff, and he is going to take out the last Aftershock player, and that, it looks like it's going to do it.
You know, what she's explaining down there on the field, Maddie, if you guys at home don't know, if you do not call a timeout within a 10-second period, before 10 seconds before the game starts, it is not going to happen. You got to call timeout before 10 seconds, right?
Yes. So, you know, and it's tough when you're out there, and again, it gets really chaotic and crazy in the pits, and it's one of those tough things, man. It's really hard sometimes to be like, okay, is there a timeout? Do we need to call timeout? How's your gun? Oh, your gun's broken. Can we get another one? And you know, we've all been in those pits before. Todd, talk to us about that, and being one of those coaches that has had to be in those chaotic pits during those moments, and the person that has to call timeout.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to be Johnny on the spot, you know, constantly paying attention. And honestly, when I first became a coach, I mean, I didn't pay attention as much to it as a player, you know. I see Bruno down there still arguing. You know, it's like
breakdance fighting.
It's something that you really had to pay attention to.
See if we can listen in.
Like that. I said, time out. Like that. And then he goes like this. And then there was 10 seconds. But the wasn't when I called. Okay? That's the fact. And you can say to him, when he looked at the clock for the second time, it said 10 seconds. Okay? Therefore, I can't call a timeout. And then he goes like this. And it still says 10 seconds. Dude, it's impossible. I called it at 14.
Yeah, so Mikey Bruno, man, trying to get those few last words in with Leon, our head referee. You know, Mikey's being very diplomatic about it, though. I mean, that's a calm and reflective Mikey Bruno. I think he's been through some. Talk about led life the hard way. Mikey Bruno has learned a lot, and you can see that composure. I'll give him that, man. I'll tell you what, I really like that he's the head coach. He's so passionate about the game, loves the players, bleeds Aftershock, man. Again, one of the guys that defined that team, defined aggressive paintball, and really trying to make sure that legacy continues on in the future. And yeah, that was a pretty diplomatic. I mean, he was trying to plead his case, of course, very animated and as to be expected. And you know, he felt like he got a bum rap there. And you know, Leon not giving on the call, believes it was the right call. That happens a lot out here.
But the World Cup with excessive. Remember?
Yep.
You know?
They tried to call a timeout too.
Yeah. But Leon is he's a very fair.
He's
judge.
very fair.
And honestly, I mean, if he makes that call, then it was the right call. Because honestly, I mean, he's made many calls against me. And honestly, if you throw a red flag at me, I'm like, yeah, you got me.
I know, and that's the thing with Leon I really like, is that he's always coming up to me after every single tournament and goes, okay, give me the no BS. I want to know what did we miss out there? What do you give me your honest opinion? And because they really want to, you know, I mean, they're the best ref and crew in the world, and they really want to stay at that level. And it's apparent, you know, you can see the intent there and the effort. So you know, it's tough call for Aftershock as Moscow takes that victory, but we still have the last game of the day, and it's going to be a really good one, as we got Damage going to be taking on Vicious, and Vicious has got to be hungry for a win now, and they're playing a really strong Damage team that's got a W as well, and that game is going to be coming at you guys next, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you ready to be a national champion? Don't miss the NCPA High School National Championships this April and your chance to be televised on CBS Sports Network. Any eligible team can enter to compete at the national championships, but the NCPA is also hosting 7 regional championship events nationwide. Win regionals, and the NCPA will pay your entry, paint, and travel expenses to the nationals. All the information you need is at highschoolpaintball.com, but we also asked one of last year's teams to explain how to make it happen.
Break this down for me. If you win your region, then the NCPA pays for you guys to come here, essentially, right?
Essentially, yeah. We pay for our airfare to get here after winning regionals, and then when we get here, we get reimbursed a certain amount of money. We're getting reimbursed $1,500 because we came all the way from California, so it was a ways.
So it makes it a little bit easier on the pocketbook.
Yeah, it's the only way we were able to do it.
That's awesome.
We wouldn't have been able to do it without the money, for sure.
Cool.
Don't miss the NCPA National Championships April 19th through the 21st at Central Florida Paintball in Lakeland, Florida. Sign up now at ncapaintball.com.